Hello, and welcome to the Weird Waves podcast. My name is Taylor, and this is episode 24. On this week's episode, we talked to Jonathan Wayne Freeman. He is a surfer from San Diego, California, and you might know him from his surf-related comedy. He makes lots of videos and clips and posts on Instagram at Jonathan Wayne Freeman. It is an awesome, new, interesting take and poking fun at the seriousness of surfing and the surf industry. It is an hilarious interview. We talk about everything from different career paths that he's tried out, his wife, with kids, how this comedy is growing and how he's made it grow. And it's just really awesome when you talk to someone who loves and is passionate about something that they're doing. I think hearing someone talk about that, it's just infectious. And yeah, he is doing an upcoming series with Surfer Magazine, and he talks about it in detail in this episode. So make sure you guys check that out. It comes out the Wednesday after this releases. So yeah, here is the episode 24, Jonathan Wayne Freeman. It's early there.
Yeah, I just got off work. It's like 8:30 on the dot.
Oh my gosh.
Or a little later.
Okay, are you on your computer?
I am. You know what? I did it as an audio call. I think that's why it's not working.
That's okay. If you look at the bottom of your screen, there's like a microphone, a camera, and like a hang up sign. If you click the camera, it should turn on your camera.
Gotcha. Hey!
Oh, perfect. Hi.
How are you?
Good. So what do you do for work that you work nights?
I work 24 hours. I'm a paramedic, so I work like crazy shifts. So, yeah, I get on at 6 in the morning and I get off at 6 in the morning. So.
Wow. So is it similar to nursing where you work like a certain amount of like 12-hour shifts?
So they're always the nurses work 3 12s.
Mm-hmm.
I work 2 24s a week, so I work Mondays and Fridays. This is how I have all this time to do the nonsense I do. And then every third week I have to work a 48, which is I have to work Friday and Sunday, Monday. Yeah. So
that's so crazy.
It is.
How do you sleep?
Sometimes not very well. So like when calls come out, it's like a fire station where you sleep. And the call comes, you have to get up, you go do your call, and then you try to get sleep. Some nights you get a lot of sleep, and sometimes you get almost none. So
wow, that's so interesting. Have you always been a paramedic?
I became an EMT when I was like 24, but I didn't use it. I didn't start as an EMT till I was 28, like 2008. Hi, buddy. My son's creeping up. You want to say hello?
Hi.
Yeah. And then I like it. Sorry, I like your picture in the back.
Oh, thanks. That's
nice.
Thanks. That's so about I would say 3 hours north of us. There's a highway that goes along the northern Michigan coast. It's called M22. Okay. There's lots of really good surf spots up there. So that's just they made a brand out of it. Whoever owns that company, very smart guy. So that's that print.
Cool. Have we started? I don't even know how this works. Have we started? Are we?
So this is how I do it. I'll break it down. It's very it's there. The science.
Thank you for asking, by the way. That's very nice of you.
Yeah. Well, you've been following us from like the beginning.
I have.
Which is really, really cool. So I record everything basically, and then I send you the raw copy, and then Andre, who's my husband, who is the other part of the team, he does all the editing, just cleans it up, makes our voices sound better. But if you listen to it and you're like, I shouldn't have said that, or that sounded weird or whatever, we will cut that out. But for the most part, almost all of our interviews, I think we had one interview where someone was like, I'm moving, and like my boss doesn't know I'm moving, so you have to edit that out.
Wow.
But other than that, it's kind of just it is what it is. So yeah.
Cool. All right. You tell. Okay, we'll just talk then.
It's just
Yeah.
I just find that, you know, people want to be able to talk about surfing and themselves, and it's just two surfers talking about whatever
Can
surfing.
talk about that all day long.
I
Talk
know.
about surfing. Too
So
much.
yeah, well, that's
Too
why we
much
start.
knowledge in my head.
I
Useless
can only
knowledge.
imagine. Well,
Yeah.
so where are you living?
I live in Oceanside, which is the northernmost city in San Diego County. So there's Orange County is like 25 minutes north,
Hmm.
and San Diego City is like 30 minutes south. So right next to Carlsbad, Encinitas. So like you know where Trestles is?
I have a
Like
visual, yes.
Lower Trestles, famous surf spot, is like
Mhm.
20 minutes north. San Onofre is like 20 minutes north. Yeah, born and raised in Southern California, lived here my whole life. So,
In that area.
my grandparents are from down here. I grew up in Orange County, which no one called the OC. It's like until the dumb TV show. So, yeah, that's where I'm from. You know, Laguna Beach. So
Yeah, of course.
I grew up in a city called Aliso Viejo, which is 4 miles from the beach, from Laguna Beach. It's like inland 4 miles up the canyon. Yeah.
Wow. So, how old were you when you started surfing?
I was late. Like this is
Really?
dude, it's so you're not gonna think it's late, but here where we live, it's like ancient. I was 13 and a half, almost
Oh,
14, the first time I
yeah.
stood up. And that's like you're like, oh, I'm never gonna be good at this because all the people that are good start when they're 6. What about you? How old were
I
you?
was super late.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 20. I moved overseas, dropped out of college. I was fat, and surfing helped me. It was the only thing that I felt sports wise was worth putting the work in,
Yeah.
and so that was yeah, I started surfing. I'm still like I'm pretty garbage compared to like most people, but I
Doesn't
have a lot of
matter. It
fun.
doesn't matter. It's so much fun. It's outdoors and you're moving and it's the most addictive thing. It's really, really like I still am trying to I just have never done anything that's more fun. Just sensation is the funnest thing ever. I like it better than
100%.
yeah, it's great.
And so who introduced you to surfing, or was it just a natural?
My my older sister she was in love with surfer guys and she would like read magazines and she wanted to date surfers so she's 5 years older so like when she was in junior high and high school these guys would come around that were into surfing and I like just thought she was the coolest and I thought that was the coolest. I'm like, oh yeah. I'd cut out surfboards from surfer magazines and put cardboard on the back to make like little surfboards before I ever surfed. I would always boogie board, um, but nobody in my family surfed. My dad's like country boy. He thought surfers were all just dope smoking, prison, like scummy, which is like what he grew up with. Like that's what he was, you know, there was a lot of criminal activity and long hair and more hippie, and he's not that way. So he was not into me getting into it. But where I live, where I grew up, the surfers are like it's like being a football player in Texas.
Yeah.
If you're in high school and you rip at surfing, you get all the girls. If you're sponsored, forget about it. Like you're the man. Like um, it's just you look at these guys and you're like, oh, they have had everything. So I was thinking like, I'd like to be a surfer. And everybody already kind of dresses like it because it's Southern California and it's warm. Yeah, so my sister ended up marrying a guy who ripped at surfing. They've been married like 20 years, and he was kind of like an older brother, and so he took me the first time. Yeah,
And did
yeah.
you learn on a big boat or did you learn on a small board?
I stupidly like tried to learn initially with him on a shortboard. And it didn't go well. I don't think I got up. And then before there were wave storms, there were things we call them doyles or doilies. They look exactly like wave storms. There was a guy named Mike Doyle made these boards that like all the junior lifeguards use out here in the summer to just play around. So I went out and I stood up and I went, oh, like, I'm going to do this forever. Like really, like, oh, like love at first sight. And then, but I was also thought I thought if you're in high school, you're supposed to play football. Like you go to football, there's cheerleaders and football players. So I played football freshman year and then came back to play sophomore year, but had got so into surfing. I was like, I don't want to do anything else, just surf. And where we live, we have surf teams. It's a sport. So
in high school?
In high school.
Oh, wow.
Your PE is surfing. So you wake up in the morning, it's the best, and go to the ocean and you surf. And of course you get an A. All you have to do is show up, and then you compete against all the different schools, and it's a big deal out here. So, yeah.
Wow. So you were able to compete in a sport in high school?
Yeah. So like you get a Letterman jacket and it's got a little surfboard on it.
No way.
It's super rad. But like my school was brand new. I would have never made the surf team at any other school. I was terrible. I was like borderline beginner, but it was like they took everybody. So I was like, hey, I'm on the surf team.
That's like, as someone who went to high school in the Midwest, this is what you think of when you think of like California, is exactly that. So the fact that that is actually a thing is pretty incredible.
Some of the cliches are true. Like you think palm trees, you think everybody drives Volkswagen buses or Beetles. You hang out on the beach, bonfires, and everybody surfs. I mean, those cliches in the coastal communities are somewhat accurate. A lot of that. I met some Canadians once, and they were just asking me, are there palm trees everywhere? Does everybody drive bugs like VW? And I was just nodding. Yes, we all do. And we can't stop saying dude. We can't stop. Dude. Yeah. You say we say dude.
Dude.
Yeah.
Man. So were you a good student in school?
Oh, that's a good question. I had a 3.2 GPA combined, but no hard classes. I didn't take anything. My parents like left me alone. I'm the youngest and the only boy. So I chose the lamest, like easiest classes you could ever. It was a joke. I loved the social aspect. Loved it. Had so much fun. And looking back, like I could have been had I chose to be a good student, but I just never thought of like, I would really like to go to a good school someday. That never crossed my, and no one was like,
you're too busy surfing.
Too busy surfing. That's the problem, dude. When you look at the thread of like where surfing has taken me, it's crazy. Where I went to school, college was based on surfing. You should look that up. You should look where I went to college. You'll go, are you
Where'd
kidding
you go?
So just Point Loma Nazarene University.
Okay.
Do you know where it is?
Yeah, I've been to Point Loma. We stayed there. Andre and I were there in September, actually.
No way.
Yeah.
So Sunset Cliffs.
Yeah.
All that. No. Yeah, that's where I went to school.
I had a guy, I'm not going to name the surf shop, but he was sure that I didn't know how to surf, and he was trying to tell me to go to the beach, and I was like, I think I can go out at Sunset Cliffs, and he's like, I don't know.
Yeah. He wasn't worried about you on the waves. He was worried about the getting down on the cliffs.
Yeah.
People get worried.
That makes sense. Anyways, that doesn't matter. Tell your story. It's more interesting.
Oh, no, it's not. But then that thread of like where I chose to live, jobs I took, why I became a paramedic, who I married, where we vacation, like the Instagram thing, like this thread of this activity that I love, it's pretty crazy. Like I'm just like, wow, I really do enjoy this. But maybe I need another hobby. I don't know, but it's healthy. It's fun.
It is. It is healthy. And so what did you study at college? I mean, obviously you picked it for surfing, but were you a good student in college or no?
No, the worst. Awful. I just would go to Mexico. I would surf. I ate pizza and I drank beer. And it's a Christian school. You're not supposed to do the beer thing. I just partied. I had a um, 2.1, like barely,
Yeah.
barely. And I only went for 2 years. I did not graduate because I realized like I'm wasting mom and dad's money. I was so distracted, the worst student, like just really, really confused about what am I supposed to do with my life. Like had a hard time going from like a young man to a man. Like that gap, trying to figure out what it means to be a grown up. I'm just now sort of like figuring it out for real. It's sad, but
Well, I think that it's hard, and I don't know if you can. My mom's a professor. She hates when I say this, but because I also didn't finish school, and I don't know if you can learn how to become a man in college. You might be able to,
yeah,
but I don't know if that's something that is, it can be what college is about, but
yeah.
I don't really know if it is what college is about.
I think there's a lot of I'm not sure about for women, but I know it's my dachshund. I know for someone's dropping a package off at the door. She's my alarm system. Um, there used to be a lot of like transitions from like boyhood to manhood. In
Mhm.
particular, there'd be like the military, right? You'd go through
Okay.
this thing like you're a man now. Um, there seemed to be more of that back in the day, and I don't know. Like I just myself and a lot of my friends, we just seemed lost for years till like late 20s, mid 20s. We're just kind of floating around, like working in restaurants or being this or being that. But yeah, I don't know. I looking back, I should have just stuck with my strengths. I think that's what you people should do. It's like, what are you interested in? What's your strengths? And be realistic about it. Not like I think I'm going to be an incredible musician when you're clearly not and you're pursuing that. Like a lot of people are delusional. Like you need to have some self-awareness. That's what I'm thinking now. I'm like, and back to all this why we're talking like the performing, being funny, like that was always what I loved. But I was trying to be my dad, who was a cop. And I don't know if you want to hear any of this.
I do want it. This is super
So
interesting.
being like, I tried to be my dad. So like, I went down all these like towards all these masculine professions instead of towards like the arts. Whereas all along, like I like the arts.
Hmm.
Like in high school, I was a full theater dude, but I did sports too. So I don't know. Back to the point.
Maybe, but
Yeah.
maybe, I mean, it makes sense because maybe you were like chasing these hyper masculine or just more masculine jobs because you were missing that gap, like you're talking about between like boyhood and growing
I
into the
did. Well,
man.
I tried. So I tried. Like I left college and I joined the military a month, November 2001. So 2 months after 9/11.
Oh my
Um,
God.
so I I tried I kept trying to do these things. I tried to be a cop. Like I tried to be, which my dad was. Like I did all these things, and then there would always be like a clear like sign like this isn't for you, but I'd still be like, no, like
It's for me.
it's for me. Whereas like the writing was all over the wall, like, dude, it's and again, like I said, I'm just now like going, it's funny, all the stuff I'm doing now is what I always wanted to do, but I never
Mhm.
did it because of fear. And now I'm like, I am having all this affirmation and all these things like going, this is what you were all along. It's what you should have done. You're
That's
not that person. So, yeah.
What was it like joining the military right after 9/11? That's just like,
No, see, I didn't plan it that way. I joined in August. I literally
oh,
I left college and I was in San Diego going to school, right? So there's Navy, military everywhere. And then I was always very interested in the military and read all the books. Um, but kind of kept that to myself. And then nothing was working out. And I'm just like, I don't know what I am, like who I am. I had left college for a year. I had got it early on when I was 20. I got a really good agent in LA. And I auditioned for commercials and stuff. This is how stupid I am. I went to 6 auditions, and did not get the part, and was
You're like,
I'm done.
Not for me.
I'm out. 6. I should have got. I'm really good. Like somebody should have. I auditioned for a Britney Spears commercial for Pepsi. I didn't get it. I was like, how do I not get the part? But yeah, so I didn't know. I didn't know what to do. And so I'm like, that's got to be the military. That's what I'm born to do. Like, I'm interested in it, and it'll give me all the structure I'm craving just by joining. So I joined in August, and then September 11th happened, and I was like, it just got real.
Oh my gosh.
But I got kicked out, so it doesn't matter.
You got kicked out.
I did. They gave me the old heave ho. Yeah.
So another sign.
That's a long story.
You got kicked out of the military. You have to tell it.
It's the best story I have in my whole being. And I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for if I ever have a podcast someday.
Okay. That's fair.
That's okay.
That's totally.
And it's too long. You'd be like, and then?
No, I do believe that it's probably an amazing story, but
it's pretty.
So that was another moment where your life was like, this is not it.
This is not it. And then I got out of the Navy, and 6 months later got hired as a police officer. And I really enjoyed the academy part. Mm-hmm. Like, it was cool. Like, and then when I actually got on the streets, I'm like, so people, why do I have to put this bulletproof vest on? Like, what if people shoot me in the face? Like, telling people what to do, like, sit down, shut up. I was 23, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. So I just straight quit. Again, didn't consult with anybody, didn't call my dad, just was like impulsive, like made a big scene of it, like walked in, was like, here's my badge.
Oh God.
This isn't for me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I thought I was Tom Cruise in Top Gun too. Like, I just had credit cards, bought a motorcycle, like a street bike. I bought a new truck. I thought I was pretty cool, dude, because in 2003, I was making like $60,000 a year, which in my mind was like, I'm making $250,000.
Right.
So I'd like go out to the bars, like, I'm rich. None of my friends. And I have a gun. I'm rich with a gun.
Oh my gosh. That's like most people in Indiana, because everybody has guns here.
Yeah. Not like California. It's very restrictive.
I know.
Very restrictive. So if you get a gun, you get to carry a gun. It feels pretty good. You're like, this feels great. I got a gun.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So you quit.
I quit, and then I was like, I should be a fireman. So, fire's terrifying. I'm scared
and
of it.
23. You're 23 at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So then I kind of like half-assed it and took some fire classes. Like, was pretty bad at them. And then, I got hired. I got hired twice as a firefighter, and failed the academy because like I can't tie knots. I have very bad mechanical aptitude. Like, you know how you're supposed to use tools and stuff, like open doors. It's all. I didn't play with Legos as a kid. Like, I don't understand spatial awareness. So again, like, but I like the uniform. I like the suspenders. The helmet was fun to wear, but so that didn't work out either. Plus, that's like the job in Southern California. Like, fireman is like the ultimate surfer.
Sorry, you cut out there. 1 sec.
It's okay. Am I there? Hello?
Oh, yes. Okay. So I guess you said you like the suspenders.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying, that's like the ultimate surfer job in Southern California.
Oh, it is?
you work 10 days a month. You have
Oh,
a great pension. It pays super good. And you just have time to travel everywhere. And I saw my friends that were surfers that were firefighters, and I was like, that looks like a good job. But you got to
wow.
be a team player and stuff. And I'm like, I don't really, I don't know.
So, so this is just this is so interesting. You've tried like every
Everything.
government
Yes.
hyper masculine job.
Yep. Ocean
Ev-
lifeguard too. I was a
oh,
lifeguard for the city, another government job. Ocean for City of San Clemente for 4 summers.
wow.
Which, looking back, that's what I should have just. I was always at the beach anyways.
Stuck with that.
Yeah, you can do that for real in California, like as a real job.
That's
But
so
again, I never
cool.
put it together. I'm like, this is just a summer job. I didn't understand it could lead. Like if you do a good job, it opens doors. Like if you show up on time and you shave, you could maybe you'll go places.
Oh my gosh. So at the end of this or towards the end of this is when you
Uh-huh.
do the paramedic thing?
Yeah, so I became the paramedic because it's so competitive and so hard to get a job as a fireman
Oh,
that you increase your odds by becoming a paramedic.
okay.
Yeah. But now I'm in like I'm a private paramedic, which is like the third circle of hell in California.
Oh,
It's like
really?
it's like you'll be at a call and the fireman's there and he's making like $100,000 and you make like a third of that. Like you just yeah, and you do the lifting, but it's okay. I don't care. Like
But
yeah.
that's why would I don't know if
Or
it's like
maybe I
that
do care.
here. I don't know. Why would do the firemen come to every single call in California?
It depends. Yes. So anytime you pick up the phone and call 911 for a medical emergency, the fire department's there.
Okay. Has
Okay.
and that is a recent change, isn't it? Like it hasn't always been that way.
In a lot of different parts of the United States, private paramedics are the
Mm-hmm.
main people who do everything,
Which is
but
you.
which is us. But
Okay.
the unions in California, the firemen made it. They don't want to lose 85% of what they do. It's all medical, maybe 90%. The rest is car accidents and sometimes fires. So
Wow.
everything they do is like little old lady fell down, hit her head. Person on the toilet can't get off the toilet. Person can't fell out of bed, can't get back in bed. You come help them. That's like almost everything. So yeah,
That's so interesting. It changed I want to say while I was like overseas because I grew up with you need an ambulance,
yeah,
an ambulance comes. You need a police officer,
hmm
there's a fire, a fireman comes. But here
right,
at our lake, every time someone was drowning here on Lake Michigan, there was any sort of drowning, the the fire guys, firemen come, and it's like, well, are you guys going to perform a rescue? No, we only do recovery. It's like, okay. So
yeah,
why to wait
right,
for them to come? It's just so it's interesting to hear that it's similar in
yeah.
California. Wow.
I'm sorry. Are you a Red Wings fan?
If I followed sports, I would be because
Okay,
I am from Michigan, but I'm not a sports
that's fine. I'm
person at
not
all.
either. I'm not either. I just asked that because I thought it'd make me sound like legit. Because I
You
knew a
know,
girl from Michigan that was nuts about the Red Wings.
people from Michigan are nuts about the Red Wings. You're smart because that's very accurate. It's just
And
not
I
me.
and a lot of people out here that I grew up with were transplants from Michigan.
Oh,
Tons,
really?
tons of people.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yep. Can I grab a little bit more coffee? I'll be
Oh,
right back.
yeah,
Thanks.
absolutely.
Sorry about that.
Oh no, that's totally fine. It works
Yeah.
because we can just cut and chop whatever we want to.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be on your podcast. This is my first one.
Oh, really?
It's a dream come true.
Oh, that's so cool.
Seriously. I always wanted to be on one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, it's cool.
And then you asked, and I was like, yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
I couldn't tell if you were serious because your account is this humorous, sometimes really sarcastic type of comedy.
Mm.
So when you said like, are you, I forgot what you said exactly. I'd be honored. I was like, ooh, I can't tell if he's fucking with me or not.
No, not at all. I was like,
So cool.
sweet, finally. Hopefully it's the first of many.
Yeah, hopefully it's cool because you can just talk for as long as you want. And
I think like a couple people want to start one with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people, like you would know who they were, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I want to be a guest. Like maybe someday, like it would be
Mm-hmm.
fun to do one, but like sitting down and doing the editing like you guys do and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
that scares the crap out of me.
Well, it gets easier once you record properly. So if you record in an easier way, and then the quality of the audio is good, then it takes
Right.
less time to edit.
Okay.
And it's pretty simple because I have literally no background in this. Nothing.
Yeah.
Same with my husband. I bought this microphone right here. It was $50 on Amazon. And that's it. That's how we started. So
Good. That's rad.
Yeah. It's not difficult. I feel like you would be a really good podcast host.
I think it would be fun. What are your favorites? What do you listen to?
Well, I like Joe Rogan because he talks to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I like people that talk to everybody. I'm a hairdresser, so I listen to some like hairdressing podcasts about different people that teach. I like the Ockcast.
What is it?
Ockcast from Aki.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's funny
without
really trying to be funny. He's just a funny person.
He's really funny. So I like I like his too, and I'm trying to think of the other ones that I listen to. Sometimes I'll listen to political ones, but I try to like give myself a break from that because if I listen to it for too long, I get really like
Fired up.
Yeah, I get all jacked up, and then I'm like,
How about the Dollop? Have you tried the Dollop?
No.
That's fun.
It's
the Dollop, DOLLOP. I think that's the Dollop. So it's these two guys, and they're both comedians, and every single episode is one of the guys reading a real story from history, like about a person, and the other dude has never heard it. So it's his first time hearing it, and he just comments like and they're all just about like really odd events or strange people, and it's hilarious and informative. You'll enjoy it.
That's cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that one out.
Mm-hmm.
I like ones where I can learn new things or hear about like people's lives. I like people, so anytime I can hear talking about people is what I kind of like.
Joe Rogan is such a interesting, I don't know, dude. That guy it's weird how that guy has grown on me, but I appreciate what he's doing. I think it's very helpful for people in general to see all these different types of opinions and for him to give a platform for all these different things. I think that's the way humans should be. And it's just, it's crazy that he's that guy. And I mean, he's the big complaint I hear some people say is like the language, but like working where I work, like I'm so used to, that's how everyone talks.
Yeah.
Like everyone, but it's crazy to see how much influence that guy's having. And he's not out giving interviews or seeking publicity.
No, he's not.
Could care less.
He does it on his own terms, and he even talks about like the sponsorship opportunities that he's had.
Oh
And
yeah,
he's just able to just say no.
that's
And
beautiful.
it's really
'Cause
cool.
he doesn't have to be under anybody's thumb. Like I'm
Hmm.
sure he's been offered huge contracts,
Hmm.
but I'm sure it comes with a bunch of stipulations.
Yeah,
So he'd rather have the personal freedom, which is, I mean, come on, who wouldn't want that?
totally.
You, to be able to be your own boss, make your own way, do
Hmm.
your own stuff. And it's sometimes I kick myself. I'm like, dude, why didn't you see this sooner? You kind of knew it was going on,
Yeah,
you
but
know?
there's still this sounds bad, but there's a lot of garbage out there. Just because there's a lot of people, it doesn't mean that like
Right.
the quality.
This is I could not agree with you more. Keep saying
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah, it's
That's
people will find the quality. Like when we first started, we you get the opportunity to put ads out like for your podcast or for your on Instagram or whatever. And everybody's different, but we just said like we think that if people like it, then they'll listen to it and they'll share it with other people and it'll grow on its own. And I think um it's still you can still do that even on Instagram, on Facebook, on all these different platforms. You can still grow if the content's good because there's so many just garbage. It's just garbage.
unreal. I couldn't agree with you more. And it's a marathon, not a sprint. So like what
Mm.
you're doing, it takes time, but the cream always rises to the top. The whole reason I started doing this is because I would see things on YouTube or Instagram people, and I'd go, you're shitting me. Like that's what's funny. That's a person, or like people on YouTube just exploiting their families, and it's
Hmm.
so clearly fake and BS. And I could see right through my computer and go like, oh, that's a completely fake, rotten person. And then I'd check, and I'm like, oh, they made $1 million last year. And then I'd barf into my hands like, "Blah." Like, so I finally was like, I'm just gonna and I don't even know what I'm doing, but I know, and when you see garbage and you're like, well, I could do better than that, and I want to do better than that, right? Like,
Totally. And I also think it's funny. Andre and I were talking about this last night about especially in the surfing world. Now, I'm green to surfing. I've only been involved for 6 years. But what I've seen on social media with the surfing is that it's turned into this very like pure, like sepia pastel colored um, dream life fakeness.
uh-huh.
And when you're doing stuff like that, it's like that's what it's supposed to be. Like in the 90s, surfers were punching people's teeth out, and you know, the bra boys were in Australia raising havoc and doing crazy stuff. And I I think that surfing is a counterculture,
Right.
and um I think that there's like two or maybe three different types of surfing. There's like the sponsored jersey type of thing. Then there's maybe like the in the middle, the pastel-y thing that I'm talking about. And then there's like a counterculture. And I think your comedy, it's just shitting on it and it's
Have,
hilarious.
have you seen any of the Lost videos from the 90s?
I probably have, but I can't pull
So
them in my head.
there's two videos called "What's Really Going Wrong" by Lost and "What's Really Going On," and that was the counterculture, and they were my favorite videos. It was like mostly really inappropriate behavior. It was like Jackass before Jackass,
Okay.
but with crazy surfing, but like underage drinking, girls, like all of that. And that was kind of the other side. That was kind of what was really going on. That's why it was called What's Really Going On.
Mm-hmm.
And there were all these characters. Like there was a guy across from Lost from the surf shop who worked at the 7-Eleven, and his name was Randall. And he was just this trippy, he was probably my age at the time, but like he was gnarly. He would light his hair on fire, he would do all this stuff, and he became like famous from it. Then there was another guy named Chicken Willie who was just an old stoner who would play guitar and da da da. And so that I've always loved that stuff.
Yeah.
Like anything counterculture. Do you know who Bunker Spreckles is?
I have no idea who that is.
Oh, do you have Amazon Prime?
I do.
Okay, there's a documentary called Bunker 77.
Okay.
Amazing. And I have a book that's amazing done by this photographer named Art Brewer, um, who doesn't live far from here. Bunker Spreckles was like the son of, there's something called Spreckles Sugar. It was a giant industry and they were huge, like back in the day, zillions of dollars, right? They owned huge parts of Hawaii. His stepdad was Clark Gable, the actor, the famous actor. And he just became this crazy surfer artist. Anyways, Bunker 77, check it out. So that, my wife's always like, why do you love like the addicts and the all? I just find it interesting because they are what they are. Like, I know when I see somebody that's so clean cut and acts so one way, I'm always like, what's under the surface?
Totally.
Not always. There's some people that are, but there's just so many people now that are putting up an image. It's so fake. Like, we all know we all struggle. We all have shit going on. Like, talk about it. Be real. It's refreshing when someone, and I didn't intend to do that. It's just like, you see stuff every day and you're like, other people have to have these thoughts, right? And for me, it's like cathartic. Like if you put something out there and then everyone goes, yeah, I feel the same way. Then I go, oh, good. I'm not crazy. Like, we do see, there are other people that see things the same way,
So how did it start?
So,
For you?
All right, check it out. So the second time I got fired from being a firefighter, I was just like, I don't want to do this. And I was depressed. Like, I worked so hard just to get in the door, like to get the job. And I had 2 little kids at the time, right? So I'm just like, I had my dream job. It was in Santa Barbara. I'm like, I'm going to live in Santa Barbara, the California Riviera. It's going to be beautiful. I have this great job. And then I don't meet the standards. And I'm just, what do I do? So I didn't work for a year. I was like, I'm a dad. I'm a stay-at-home dad. Yeah, that's hard to pull off. You need money. And my wife was working full-time. Hold on a second. Fisher! I forgot my son is here. When I was talking about being a dad, I'm like, I'm not even being a dad. Son! Fisher! Are you okay? Are you alive? You're not playing with matches, are you? Is mom still here? Okay. So, all right. Everything's good. He's alive. So I got a job as a janitor, a night janitor at an elementary school. I was 37 years old, and I'd show up to work at like 2:30 in the afternoon, and I'd work till 10:30 at night. And I was so like, here's rock bottom. This is my rock bottom. I'm like, I'm the night janitor. This is like, I'm literally cleaning up human shit. Like, that's my job. But I was alone. And what did I do the entire time? I listened to podcasts. So I was learning stuff, and I'm hanging out, and I'm by myself in the school. No one's around, enjoying life. And it just occurred to me, I'd like read the stuff on the walls in like the second graders' classroom, and it would be like, dream big, act now, love all, Martin Luther King. And I'd be like, yeah. And I'd keep walking around. I'd be vacuuming. I'd be taking out the trash. And I was like, I'm going to be dead. Like, life's short. This is who I knew who I was when I was 13. I knew what I loved. I'm just going to start using this, right? So as a janitor, I would make these like, I think it was awesome, dude. It was rad. Like, I would make these really weird videos of just like, I'm the night janitor at an elementary school, and all these people started following it. I thought it was a lot of people. It was like 300 people. And it was actually, looking back, like pretty dark and pretty weird. because I was going through a lot of stuff and super creepy. And I more than once had people like, "Are you okay,
Are
bro?"
you okay?
And I was like, "Not really, not doing so hot." Like, I have a wife and 2 kids, and I'm the janitor at the school. But what that job taught me was like, first off, I didn't know what it was like to have people like look through me. Like
Oh,
people would just like, and it was in a really nice neighborhood where it was
okay.
all rich kids. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like people either think you're an ex-criminal, a pedophile, a drug addict, like you're just a dude cleaning, you know? And I started to just go, this is, I don't know. I learned a ton about myself because I had so much time alone. Like you need to get alone. And I never really had that. And I was just like, that's what I want to do. I want a big audience. And at first I thought I'd done a little bit of stand-up comedy. So I started going out at night doing stand-up. And then I was like, I don't have time to get good at this. Like you got to go out every night. And
It's
it
a
takes
grind,
years.
right?
It's a grind. And like I got a wife and kids. So I was like, how can I reach the most people? So I thought YouTube or this. And then I finally like one day was like, what am I doing? I'm a janitor at an elementary school. Like I have a paramedic license, like go back and be a paramedic. So I became a paramedic. And then one day I had this in my pocket at work and it was like going like this. And I have the code. It erased everything.
Your
So
whole phone.
my whole phone, like everything got erased, which is good in hindsight because Instagram might have that stuff somewhere. I don't know. I'm not sure. I thought it was funny, but I'm sure people might not think it was. But so then yeah, I'm like, I'm just gonna start a new account, and then I did a few different surfing related ones, and then the Kook of the Day.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that site, and I used to watch it and
Yeah.
laugh. And I went on there, and he was like looking for taking it in a new direction. Like, I don't want to just post videos of people,
Getting smashed.
yeah, being whatever. And so there were a couple guys that sent videos in of them doing funny stuff. And I wrote a comment on one of them. I could tell the guy was reading a script. He had sunglasses on and I could see his eyes. And I just didn't think he was very funny. But whatever, anybody that puts themselves out there is cool. So I wrote a comment, I could do this. This would take me 1 take. This took him 20 takes or something like that. And then he goes, prove it. He just direct messaged me like, send me a video, Kook, or whatever. And he goes, no, send me that video. So he asked for a specific video, which was me impersonating a guy that was my age that used to be a sponsored surfer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So then he put it up, and then it just went, phew. And then people started sending me stuff for free.
That's awesome.
All I ever wanted was a t-shirt. I got a t-shirt. Excited. Yes.
So they just send you stuff, or they want you to do something with it?
I have no idea. That's the weirdest thing. I don't I think most of it is just people, they think you're funny. It's like you said, they appreciate what you're doing and they send it to you. But I talked to my wife about this. I'm like, I'd like some guidelines or instructions. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't
They
know
just
what
send it to you.
I don't want to be an influencer thing. I don't even know what that is. So I just say thank you and show it a few times. And I'm stoked on those people. And I don't know. It's cool.
Well, there's no guidelines. That is the thing that's
Yeah, I don't know.
it's like, how do you, as long as they don't, I think this is my rough understanding, is like, as long as they don't give you money, then it's not like you don't have to like say this was an ad or this was whatever. You just say,
Yeah.
I got this. Thank you for sending it to me.
And then, of course, I got people that were like, send you hate mail that are like, what are you doing? You're blah. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, if someone gives you a gift, you say thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I know. And I'm genuinely stoked. Like, that's so nice. For a while there was like stuff coming a lot. It's crazy.
So you're getting stuff,
Hmm.
and then people were giving you hate for posting about the stuff that you got?
Very, very few. Like,
Oh, yeah.
surprisingly, that's been the weirdest thing. Like, but again, like the way I'm wired, like there could be 10,000 nice things said, and you remember some guy that's like, "You're an ugly, old, balding, unfunny jerk," and you're like, "Oh, what? Why would you take the time to write that? Ooh, it's very specific." Like,
But isn't that like human? I
yeah,
think
of
that's
course it is.
pretty human. It's like, you have all this love, and then one person's like, stop
Yeah.
even trying.
No, there were people that were like, "Stop now! You're the worst. Don't do it anymore." And I'm like, I would just go, "Okay, like that's hilarious." I just personally would never take the time, like, "Dear Weird Waves podcast." Like, why? Why would you do that?
I'm not sure, but
It's
it's
strange.
it is strange. So do you have like characters in your head when you're doing these videos, or are you just kind of like,
Dude, you would get so like anyone that's been around me when I make ones like that's there's no thought, dude. There's nothing. It's all like I'm tired most of the time, like right now. And when you're tired, you're just like, and so like I'll be uh, like I was driving down the road. My wife, we went surfing, and my wife asked if I would come home early, and I wanted to stay with my friends. And I'm like, I'm gonna pull over on the side of the road and just talk. And the first thing that came out was comparing surfing and golfing. And I did that, and then all these people are like, "That's the greatest," and I'm like, "All right, I guess all I need to keep doing is
whatever's in your head?
saying random stuff," which doesn't always work. Like if I sent you some of the stuff in my phone that's we don't put up, you'd be like, and my wife helps me when I'm, "Bye, honey, I love you. I love you too." She's going to work, and I just got off work. Maybe someday we'll be zillionaires. We won't have to work anymore. The grind never ends, honey. Yes. I'll watch your son, our son. Bye bye. Try to get a nap. I'm sorry.
Is she also a paramedic?
She's a coach.
A
She's a
coach?
college track coach.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Has she always done that?
Yeah. Since high school, she was like a college athlete jumper, triple jump. Yep.
That's cool. And how many kids do you guys have?
We have two.
That's
Yeah.
cool. And do they
People always
surf?
say that. No, not yet. They're little. I don't want to scare them. I've seen a lot of dads push their kids in, and they have a bad experience, and then you don't even see them want to attempt surfing until they're like 13 or 14. So I'm kind of letting them figure it out. Yeah. Have you surfed? Where else have you surfed in California?
Only the whatever it is, PB, Pacific, is it Pacific
PB,
Beach?
Pacific Beach. Yeah.
Yep, and that's it in California. And then surfed in New Jersey, um, a couple different spots in Florida, and then I've surfed Lake Michigan and then Lake Superior. But I learned how to surf when I was living in New Zealand. So I lived in Raglan for like 3 years.
Oh way.
That's
That's
where I
yeah.
learned how to surf. So I was pretty spoiled.
Dude, I've wanted to go there for years. I want
It's,
to go to New Zealand and Chile. Those are my
yeah,
two I want to go.
New Zealand, it's beautiful, but what's really beautiful is the people. It's like better than anything that you can actually see around you. It's just the New Zealanders are good-hearted people for no reason.
Take you in for no reason,
No reason.
hospitable. Yeah.
Totally great. It's when I visited California and I went to San Diego, so you put that out there, but I definitely thought that it was going to be more like New Zealand.
Oh,
And
oh, people are the
um
worst.
I mean, so Andre's Ukrainian. He's from Ukraine. So, he, I think a lot of immigrants have that California dream thing in their mind, and me too. And then we went to San Diego, and there's just signs everywhere. No smoking, no skateboarding, no parking here, no doing this. I'm like, where's the vans and the people and the kumbaya by the beach and all this stuff?
I could show you. There's parts. You were in the wrong part.
Okay.
There's a whole section. First, Northern and Southern California are completely different, but there's pockets, little pockets. I'm not going to say where.
Yeah. Okay.
That I could send you where you'd be like, it's like California 60 years ago, where you can still do all that. Yeah. There's no signs. You can jump off the pier. You can light fires. People are on the beach and not getting tickets. You can let your dog loose. Like,
well, I'm glad that it exists, because I mean, we probably didn't find it because you guys want to keep it for yourselves, which makes sense.
No, I mean, those places are usually like, there's just like, first off, they're usually not affordable, and there's no industry. Like, there's no jobs in these places, which is kind of why they've stayed. And they usually have county-wide ordinances that you can't build, so they stay pristine. Whereas down here, it's just like build. But the whole, like, going back to those little videos and stuff, like the dad with the son who's gonna, like, wants to be a surfer, and the GoFundMe, that is the stereotypical, like, South Orange County, coastal, not friendly, competitive. The wife is all constantly done up, always, always has to look perfect. Dad is like, hey, and they have the 2 perfect cars and the 2 perfect kids. That is real. These are like, you're just like, whoa, that looks like so much pressure. And I grew up around these people, but like, my mom was a lunch lady and my dad was a cop, and they could care less about keeping up with the Joneses. But that is here. And along with that, people are very unfriendly. Like, you would think with surfers, like, hey, we're going and having fun. But like, I'll walk down the trail, the trestles, and I'll smile and wave at people, and they're like, if I even get nobody. It's just very unfriendly. It's such like the cool guy thing, which that's what I want to go and make fun of, because it's stupid.
Has it always been like that, though?
As far as for me in this area,
yeah,
absolutely. Here, but I've been other places. There's places like I haven't been to New Zealand, but I've always heard they're very friendly. I've surfed in Central America, different spots, and some of the locals are really nice, as long as you're respectful. It's always about respect. But here, it's just I think like the cost of living here is so high that it creates this competitiveness, but also the industries here, the whole surf industry, and a lot of it is just cliquey. Hey, bro, it's all like, and also there's a lot of like Peter Pan syndrome, like guys that never grew up and they're still like dressing like teenagers. They're still doing the same thing, and then they have their kid and they want to, I don't know. And then a lot of it too is like, I make jokes about like a lot of guys were the dude, like they ripped at surfing, they married into money, like and they're still doing the lifestyle because
they have money.
But I just think people being, and obviously it's not true. There's a lot of people there's just a lot of people here. There's a lot of good people. It's just maybe there's so many people that people are standoffish and guarded. And it's also, there's only a certain amount of waves, and it's a selfish sport, so people get kind of nuts.
I mean, it makes sense from that aspect. We interviewed a guy, Nate, who moved from the lakes to California, and he always talks about the old fully bald jack dudes are like the guys you got to stay away from, because they're the meanest ones in the water, who are wearing the, like, what is the Bjorn or Burn, I don't know, something with a B, wetsuits.
Buell?
Yes. He said those, but it's interesting for someone like, I surfed absolutely garbage shore break. There was nobody else even attempting to surf where I was surfing when I surfed in California, so I didn't have any sort of experience, California surfing experience really.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting because it's not what you think of when you think of surfing in California.
Yeah, again, it depends. What everyone ends up doing is like I have a friend, a couple friends that surf well, but they won't surf any of the busy spots. They'll go to out of way spots where they're going to be by themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and the waves aren't as good, but they don't care because they just don't want to deal with the crowd. So you could still find that. I could go
Okay.
surf right now by myself any day of the week. I could do that if I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of what surfing is like this performing for other people. Like you want validation. I'll tell you though, it's different in a lot of places. I was in Northern California and I didn't think like the guy by himself, like out in 20-foot waves in the middle of nowhere was like a real thing, but I saw it. It's a real thing. There's really guys like that like go out in the cold where there's sharks everywhere and surf huge waves by themselves. And if something happens, like they're screwed. Those dudes are really out there. And those guys, I'm like, respect. They're like cowboys or something. It's gnarly. But down here, it's all like, so much of it is just like, how many times do you see people that can't surf and they have a $900 board that's not right for them, and it's all image, and they have this sick wet, and you watch them surf, and you're like, you don't even know what you're doing, because that's part of the fun of surfing. It's like, I'm a surfer. You can tell people. Sorry, I had something stuck in my hair this whole time.
No, that's okay. Glad you got it out.
Thank you.
So, as someone who didn't grow up surfing, I can say that was me. I love to make fun of myself for it because in the girls surf community, I was trying to be a hot babe with the sexy, like whatever, can't think of that girl's name, but the rip curl flash bomb in your ass wetsuit.
Alana Blanchard.
Yes, I had that hook up. I got this, like, a super fish, and it had like a sick tail pad, and I was an asshole. I was walking down the beach back and forth like an asshole. But you have to get over that, and then you can get into surfing.
So was I, though. I mean, so was I, 100%. I was riding a short board that was completely inappropriate for me for years and didn't put together like I should have been riding something bigger, wider, because everyone around me that was cool, that's what they did. Even though I looked ridiculous, didn't make sections, missed waves.
Yeah.
I didn't care because I was like, oh, I'm walking down to the beach. Like, I'm a surfer.
Yeah.
And but that's how you learn and you figure stuff out. Surfing's weird, man. It's so much about, for so many people, I think the idea and the lifestyle of like, but why wouldn't it be? Like, you get to go to places like New Zealand or Hawaii or Tahiti, and like, it's super fun and it's beautiful, but so much of it, like if you open up a surf magazine, you're just like, oh my gosh, a bunch of dudes sat around at a table and planned out this ad. Like, all right, we're going to have this palm tree and this girl and this, like, don't even get me started on the girl stuff is wild, because I've seen when there was like no girls in the lineup, and the girls that were in the lineup were not the kind of girls you see today. It was like super gnarly jock, like mountain women. That's who you would see in the water. And then it became like Blue Crush came out, the movie, and then it went, and it was just like every little girl. And then soft tops and surf schools, and it just exploded. So
it's an interesting thing too, because a lot of the marketing for the surfing, it's like for women, it's the hot stuff. It's like, be hot. And it's just not, it's cool because in the beginning, I'm sure they sell to tons of girls like me that think in the beginning that it's going to make you, I don't know, accepted out there or whatever. And then it is really interesting.
The psychology of it. I think being a girl's being a woman, like it's just I mean, having two sisters, like it's tough, like all this pressure that's put on you and stuff, but it should be just about the enjoyment of the activity, and that's it. But there's guys that go through the same thing. There's guys they have their whole outfit and their hair is done a certain way. I don't know. I just like, maybe that's just how human beings are wired. It's just weird when you see like adults doing it. You know, I expect it with a junior higher or a kid or maybe a high schooler, but like we should get past that
Yeah.
as we grow up.
Yeah.
Like and that's, again, this is something about that I like to make fun of, is the audacity of a lot of beginners that are surfers, like that are just so bold, and they'll tell you all this stuff. I did this and I did that. And I'm surfing here and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I'm like, you've been surfing 2 years. Surfing is so hard. Like, you're so delusional. You're out of your mind. I would never go into rock climbing, which I know nothing about, and just be like, well, yeah, I bought all the finest equipment and I know this and I know that. And now I'm an expert. But with surfing, it's like people are just, I don't know. It's like they did it once and then they're like, I know what's up. But here's the best part about surfing. Anytime here, it's like a couple feet overhead, the crowd just,
There's no one out.
it takes care of itself. The ocean takes care of itself. When the waves get real, it's like all of a sudden you see who's a surfer. Not who's a surfer, but you see the ability is like, you go, whoa, because some people don't want to surf. You know, you could surf small waves, you can surf big waves, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I do. It's
self-regulating.
Self-regulating. Yeah. I said that. I've talked about it before, but in Raglan, it's like that coastline, and it's kind of like you graduate from, there's Notanui Beach, and then you can go to the famous like Manu Bay, and then from Manu Bay, you can go to Whale Bay, and then you can go to like the total epic is paddling out at Indicators. It's like the pinnacle of where you can surf, and then from that's it. And they will tell you. I had people tell me, like, you should not be out here. You need to go
As they should. So
Yeah.
as they should.
Uh-huh.
And I want to point out, like, the kook of the day, that's what that entire thing is. It's not about making fun of people. If you look what it says he says he's a coach. The whole thing, so you can look at it and not be delusional and be like, okay, here's what I should do. Here's what I should not do. That's the whole purpose. But that dude gets more like, you're bullying, you're blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, first off, you can't control the comments people say.
Right.
You know, he doesn't have time to go through 10,000 comments. Secondly, it's just there to show, like, you don't jump off a cliff into 10-foot surf with your leash on, because it might get hung up on the cliff. Or you don't paddle out in 10-foot shore break when you don't know what you're doing, because you could break your neck and die. Like, this is what that's there for. And the fact that people don't see it, this just shows how people are, you know? So it's just, when I was growing up, like, I got barked out of the water so many times. Get out of here. You don't belong. What are you doing? If I went in front of somebody, I would poop my wetsuit. Like, be like, ah! Get out of there. But now, like, I'll see people in a lineup that are just no etiquette, have no idea what they're doing, and you'll look at them and you go, and you try to be nice. Hey man, what you just did, that you don't do that. And they'll look at you like this and go, what are you talking about? And you're just like, you know? And so it's a different thing, probably because way more lawyers, you know, I used to see people get punched. I saw people get dunked, which is gnarly. It's bad. You know, it's not, you don't touch somebody, you don't assault somebody. But even now, like, people can't even take a verbal tongue lasher. You know, and they should, some people can, some people, I've said stuff to beginners where they're so freaked out, I say something to them and they just go, ah, and then they go in, which is what I used to do.
Yeah.
So I just think there needs to be, the whole point is so people don't get hurt. Like, you don't want to, it's not good. If you've ever seen somebody take a longboard straight to the forehead, It's not good. So,
No, and it's hard to see like where that line is, because I do think like you have to tell people, and I've told people I'm notorious for on the lake cussing out swimmers, because on the lake with lake surfing,
so,
no, it is whatever it is, but it because I've had to rescue so many people caught in rips
oh,
because they don't understand the rip currents because they think it's a lake. And so it's in it is in their best interest. And also, I've just been surfing. I paddled over to you. My adrenaline's absolutely cranking out of my chest because I know I'm going to get to you before the lifeguards are. So you are swimming in the rip. You're in it. You are inside of it. And I'm like, hey, you shouldn't be swimming
that's
here.
how you learn. And that's better than drowning and
Exactly.
dying.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
somebody telling you, and if it lodges in your brain and you're like, this person told me, like, maybe you won't do it next
Mm-hmm.
time. Maybe you won't do that same behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's astounding though. The from lifeguarding, I can tell you, and I've had the same thing so many times in the water where you're like, you go up to people that just don't understand what's going on. And you would know way more about me or about a lake. I know nothing about the currents in a lake. Like a smart person, I would come up to you and be like, I've never surfed in a lake. Like, what is this? It's
Mm-hmm.
fresh water. There's currents. You would ask questions, but people don't ask questions. A lot of people, they just go. And that's a lot of the kook of the day too. Like where you're just like, oh, this is somebody who made a bad decision, you know? So I don't know.
Is it for you the humor like a way to kind of check people? Is that how you use it a little bit, or?
I don't know what it is. If it's so I'm stoked because I've been working. Surfer Magazine contacted me a few months ago, and they're like, "We want to do a series with you," which is going to open up like to millions of people, which is rad. It's going to be on all their sites, all their stuff.
Awesome.
So I'm actually filming the next couple days, finishing up the final episode. We've done 6 episodes, and it's yeah, I'd say it's kind of like it's like the first episode is a pro surfer trying to teach me how to do airs. I'm 40 years old. I can't do airs. So it's like a delusional person who thinks he can do this. Another one is at the wedge, and like Jamie O'Brien's there, and it's like chucking, and it's like me, like you shouldn't be at the wedge, and I had to kind of be like, you'll see it and whatever. And then another one's in Northern California when it's big and the waves are big and the locals are gnarly and it's cold. Again with another pro who's like, it just shows. Hopefully, it's a teaching. It's really funny. It's different. I'm super curious to see how people like it. I
Yeah.
think people dig it because it's like what we were talking about, all that stuff, how surfing is. It's like kind of prepackaged and clean and all that. This is like, they keep telling me like, we've never done anything like this. And I'm like, well, people either like it or they won't. Like you said, they'll let you know. So, I don't know. I'm excited for it to come out. So
That's so cool. Did they just contact you? How did that start?
yeah, so Peter Terrace is crazy. Like I'm the biggest Surfer Magazine geek, like front to back since I was little. Um, he's a dad just like me, has 2 kids, and he's the digital media guy in charge of everything. And he would DM me and like just joking. And then he was like, we want you to come in. And like, it's a company that owns them, also owns like 10 other magazines. And they brought me in and like I sat at a table and it was like the office, like there's like, here's the head guy, this, and I didn't know what to expect. And the dude's like, the head guy's like, so what is it that you do? He's like, what's your name? And then like, it was like me, like a video of me crapping all over my wife, like saying, but stupid, like, I don't like being married or something like that. And he's like, ah! Like he chuckled. He's like, all right, Peter, what's your idea? And Peter's like, well, I want to take this guy. And so anyways, yeah, it's because of Peter. And then now we become friends and it's like the funnest thing ever. To to be with these pro surfers, to like stay in hotels with them, to surf with them, like to have cameras filming you all over, like it's a dream come true. So
It's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I'm so excited to see. When does it come out?
So originally it was supposed to come out in December. Then it got pushed back. Now the first episode is supposed to be the first week of January. So right around the corner. And I
That
could
is
start,
so cool.
we have like clips of me, like little short things I can play to hype it up. And I'm going to be pushing it pretty hard because it's really fun. Like, and the best part is like somebody editing it, professional filmers, professional editors. Like all I had to do was go out and like just be a dork with a microphone or with the lapel. And it's so fun because they make it look rad.
Yeah.
So
that is so cool. That is just.
I have a cooler story for you too.
Okay, let's hear.
But I'm not going to tell you on the podcast.
Okay, that's fine.
It's like way cooler. We'll have to.
We'll talk whenever we.
Yes. Yeah.
do this. I have a couple more questions for you before we wrap it up. You talked about surfing being the line in your life, and you included your wife in that. So your wife must surf?
My wife is a really good athlete, and she started surfing when she was 20. And like always wanted to be a surfer, like Gidget and stuff when she was younger, but she's from the mountains and she's been everywhere. She's spent a lot of time in New Zealand. She's been to Australia. She's been to Peru, Costa Rica, Nicaragua. She's like been to some of the sickest waves ever. Surfs really well. She's a goofy foot. Yeah. And like her whole thing, she was like, I'm married. She was like specific. The guy I marry will be a shortboarder. He will not longboard. Like, so that we can go to the same spots. Like, but some of our biggest fights have been in the water. Yeah.
I know what that's about.
We've gotten some big fights. You need to let me get these waves. I'm like, I don't do anything. Get your own waves. Like, what are you talking about?
That's so funny. I was always like, about, because it was my thing before I met my husband. And he learned for me, basically, because I was like.
And does he love it?
He loves it, but he picked it up so fast. And I was so pissed.
One of those guys.
Such a stupid fight about it. He was like, I just learned how to do this for you, and now you're mad at me. Why are you mad at me? And I'm like, I know, it's crazy. I shouldn't be mad. It's annoying,
yeah. Yeah, we get mad at stuff that doesn't make sense. I have to pee really quick. I'm sorry.
That's fine. We've been going for a while. It's all good.
Fisher, you okay? Fisher! All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay.
No, I go ahead. Talk too much.
No, it's about you talking. That's the point.
No, I was just gonna say it's so fun to like. It's so like I had an idea, like you were saying. You put something out into the world, and if people like it, they respond. But like, you do something, and then all these like other things, just these doors start to open. It's really neat. So I'm excited about the surfer thing because it's like, I don't even think like this, that stuff, like the improv and the characters, like, I don't think that's what I'm best at. What I'm best at is like talking to people on the spot. And there's a lot more of that, just like interactions with people. So you're probably like, what? You're a terrible listener. How could that be possible?
No.
But so I'm excited to see, like, is someone gonna pick up the phone and call? Like, you never know.
Yeah, I
Who's
think if you put it out there,
It's rad. Like, you just never know. Oh, it's my wife. It's my wife.
you
My
can
wife.
get it.
This is so fun. Thanks for letting me do this. I love talking about myself.
Oh yeah.
It's
Well,
great.
everybody loves to talk about
Everybody likes
themselves.
talking about themselves.
100%.
I haven't asked you enough questions, though. I feel like
No, it's okay.
Hello.
Hi, baby. How are you?
Are you all done?
We're still talking. You want me to call you back?
Yeah.
What's the matter? Is everything okay?
Yeah.
All right. I'll call you in a bit.
I'm almost. I'll be there pretty soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye. All right. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Why do you think you're so funny?
I think it's just being the youngest. Where do you have brothers or sisters?
I have a younger brother.
You have a young. Is he funny?
He's
Funnier than
pretty
you?
funny. I don't know.
Huh? You don't know? I think part of it's I was the only boy and I'm the youngest, and I just always loved entertaining people, like always. And anytime a camera goes on, I'm like I like literally remember being little and being like, I'm so glad I live in this time that there's cameras, video cameras. Like I can watch myself. Like too much time staring at the mirror, like talking to yourself. And no, just you figure out early on, you're like, what's my thing, right? Like, and when you make people laugh in social situations, you can navigate into any circle because you're not a threat. Like amongst dudes, they're, especially when you're younger, they're always fighting for either alpha status, like who's the strongest, who's the most handsome, who gets the most girls, this and that. If you come in and you're just silly, you're not a threat. You're just like, everybody likes to laugh and everybody loves a funny guy or girl. It's just like, so early on you do that. And then I realized, oh, you get this immediate feedback. That's why I like this too. Like, I cannot wait. Like, this is the worst thing because I'm like, ooh, I want to see what people say. Did they like it? Did they not like it? How fun is this? It's immediate. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, that was the only, like, you have a niche for something. Like, I could talk in front of 10,000 people right now. It doesn't bother me. Like, I don't get scared, public speaking, all that stuff. Like that I told you, you should go in the direction of stuff you're good at. That's just what I've always been drawn to. Even as a janitor, I used to stand in the stage with, there was no one there. In between cleaning, I'd be in the theater at the elementary school just talking like there was a crowd. No, there wasn't. So that might be psychosis too. I don't know.
No, that's cool.
So yeah, I just think like, it's so fun, dude. Have you ever laughed so hard that like your body hurts?
Yes.
What's better than that? There's only like a few. Like I have like maybe like those really like crazy laughs. It's the best. Also, it's how you like, it's fully how you deal with pain, how I deal with pain. I just like mask it. Which I don't know if that's healthy, but like
Who's to say?
literally people that don't have a sense of humor, I'm like, I can't stand to be around people like that. I'm like, how do you get through life? Like,
Do you think if you would have stuck with one career path that you would be as funny as you are?
I think I never should have deviated from that inner voice inside me that was like, you're an entertainer. And the fact that like stuff started to click right before I turned 40, I thank God, because I'm like, I felt like everything in my life was great. My family, my yeah, my family, my mom and dad, that's all considered, like my health, all of that. But I never felt like you just don't think things are attainable.
Mm.
Like having a dream. You don't think a dream can happen, but a dream can happen. It's just people that like choose a path, they stick with it, they go down that road, and they're diligent. And if you love something, it doesn't even feel like work. So I wish I knew that when I was 13, 14. I'm like, this is what I want to do. Like, I fully think I could have been on Saturday Night Live. I think I could have been a 100%. But instead, I was like, oh, I'm going to do this, trying to be something that you're not. And that's where all the tension in my life has come from, was like trying to fit into, just trying to be somebody I wasn't, when it's so clearly like that's not, and not reading those signs. Like life gives you signs, very clear signs. So yeah, just now it's like, I want to be the guy in the second half. Like I want to be 45 and be like, hey, check it out. You can still do what you want to do late in life. Because that's something I've always battled too, where I'm like, oh, you're too old. When I was 25, I'm like, I'm too old for
Really?
college. Oh, dude. 30, I'm like, it's over. 40, I'm like, but now I'm like, it's all bullshit. Like I meet 95-year-olds that are awesome in my job. Like there is time. You just need to start and head in that direction. And like you said, life lets you know what's working. Like it'll let you know. And maybe you just need to make some adjustments. Like, I don't know. Like where this is going to go, I'm not sure, but I could see, I have a vision and it's cool. Like I like it. Yeah.
That's cool. I could see the hosting after after
I would
talking to
love
you.
that.
That really cool.
Be so fun. What do you want to do?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, right now I'm a hairdresser
Yes.
and I do work for myself. So that's awesome. I would love to grow that and I want to be an educator for like other hairdressers because when I was starting out, I didn't see anybody that looked like me in terms of like boho hippie type of like natural thing. I saw lots of like Botox and big earrings and all this stuff and that's cool, but it's not for me. And I felt like it was kind of distracting because I couldn't see myself I knew that I wanted to be on stage, but I couldn't see myself like in those people. So now I've only been a hairdresser for a year and a half. But I'm trying to build that. And then with the podcast, we want to turn it into something really cool. We started a YouTube channel, like I'm building that. And so we want to turn it into like, we interview the person, you can see the person, you can look at the person, and then the second half is you see that person's life, like you see their house and you see where they surf, you see like that stuff, and just turn it into something that shows different types of people. And the common thing is just surfing, and also like kiteboarding, stand-up paddle board racing, maybe kayaking, just like not only surfing, but other forms that people use in the water. Because I think that there's that same passion like we have for surfing for people who are doing like the whitewater kayaking stuff and like all those different kinds of sports. So yeah, that's that's what I would like to do.
That's
So
totally attainable. You're already starting to do it.
yeah.
And I don't, they're both attainable, but the first thing you said, I was like, there's something there for sure. Like
Yeah.
hair and authenticity and
Mhm.
realness. And that's something that could potentially be something massive if you want it to be as big as you want, as long as you're truthful and honest and you're passionate about it. Like, yeah, all the fake BS that goes
Yeah.
on. Just don't do any of that. And chances
Yeah.
are there's a zillion women that feel exactly the same as you. So you could,
Because it's so important. And I kind of like, I went off, I kind of like, I had this goal, and I had this like, I was working at this specific salon, and I kind of like felt like I could see everything. And then it kind of like, it got all messed up, and I kind of fell off the path. But funnily enough, I was answering a bunch of pretty standard beauty questions in a girls surfing forum. Like, how do I protect my hair when I'm surfing? How do I, whatever, what is best for the ocean hair products? And I'm like, there's no one on YouTube talking about this. Literally,
Mhm.
I tried to look it up. How to test your water. What's in your water? What does it do to your skin and your hair? How can you find that out? So I started the 2 YouTube channels. There's the one with my hair. I haven't posted anything. I've just built it up, like, and the same with the YouTube with this, because we had people that wanted to see the people that we interview. So, but with the podcast, it started because I hated my job. I hated where I was working. I was driving into the city, and I was listening to Gary Vee, and he was like, I heard a guy does a Dragon Ball Z podcast, makes $50,000 a year, loves his job. And I was like, shit. I got to my work. I ordered this microphone for $50, told my husband I'm going to start a podcast, and he's like, sounds good. So,
Dude, it's so, this is the astonishing thing. Like, uh, what is, uh, I love Mark Twain and I love his quotes. I might butcher this, but he said the secret to success is getting started, which
yeah.
that's the biggest hurdle. You can have all these dreams, you write stuff down, but you never take the first step. That's classic me. It's like classic procrastinator.
Mm-hmm.
And like literally, I'm like I'm giving like 17% right now. Like I'm like, if I could get it up to like 40%, man, like maybe like you just need to do it. It's so simple. Like the value of an idea lies in its use. You can have the idea, but
I like that.
that's it. Like it's just taking those steps.
Yeah.
And again, like it doesn't mean they're going to be right. Like you have to make adjustments and figure out what works and what doesn't. But yeah, it's so much fun. Like we live in such a unique time. Like this right here. How crazy is this?
It's so cool.
So rad.
It's super rad, and especially like it changed it just took my happiness and my stoke factor up like so much. We've only been doing it for 4 months. We've met the coolest people, and almost everybody was like, come over. Like everybody's been like, please come over. Like this guy, this last episode that we did, the guy lives in the middle western part of Brazil. He's like, please, anyone come visit me. Please come.
No, I'll
And
say
like,
the same. If you guys are out here,
yeah.
we have a guest room. I'll take you surfing.
I just mean,
I extend.
I wasn't fishing for that. I was just saying.
I
like,
wasn't thinking you were. I'm just saying you'd be happy to.
It's and like moving. When I moved back to the States, it was a very big. This was before I got married, but it was a big like ego crusher for me. I had to figure out who I was more than I did when I went to New Zealand, was coming back to the States. And finding surfing on Lake Michigan made it so that I could be here and be like okay. And then doing the podcast, and so many of the other stories are all, it's kind of like that, or someone's finding themselves through surfing, or they're like sorting it out. And it just makes you feel like less isolated, because we're very, especially my spot here. We went out Sunday, my husband and I, we met up with like 2 other people, and there was 5 people in the water, and we're like, oh, it's crowded. Mm-hmm. Like, ooh, I don't know. 'Cause it's very, you're on your own. So to have the podcast and talk to people and share ideas and see what people are doing, it's just so awesome. It's like So great.
Yeah, that's another thing. Surfing is like going back to that thread. The worst times in my life, I've still surfed,
Hmm.
which is like I've the best times and the worst times. It's always like there. I've been surfing on like the darkest days in my life, and like it's offered me some solace and comfort. It's the same for some people if they went for a hike, I'm sure. But that's something I like about it. And I appreciate, yeah, what it's given to me. And that's the weirdest part. Like, so you have a person that wants to be funny, me, and wants as broad of an audience as possible. And I'm thinking, how can I do this? It can't be done. And where it was the thing I knew all along. It's
Surfing.
the trippiest thing. And then to have like my idols, like I don't give a about Robert De Niro or Al Pacino, but like Shane Dorian likes like something I did. Kelly Slater sends me a message and says that's hilarious. I'm like, are you kidding me? And it was always there. And I'm just like, how weird is that? It's so weird because surfers, they're great at surfing. Some of them are funny, but they're not like most pros. There's not a lot of like good humor. There's a lot of like, I'm not saying mine's good, but it's a little bit better.
I
It's a
think it's
little bit
pretty good.
better. Just a smidge. I'm sure there's going to be a lot better people, but like the fact that it was like all under my, like I could just go, oh, this is what I know about because I'm a fan, and then I can apply it. It's so weird, like that it was there all along. It's crazy.
It's cool though, and I do
Yeah.
think it's like from where I'm sitting, it's cool to see someone like you said, you're 40 and this is coming full circle for you. That's fucking awesome. Like it's so
I hope.
cool.
Well, the thing is, like, whatever happens, like, and I have dreams and I have visions, and like, and as stuff starts to happen, like, I would not be prepared if those things had happened when I was in my 20s or even my
Mhm.
30s. Like, I'd probably be the like dude that was like, oh yeah, we heard about that guy 1 second, and then he went off the rails, and where'd he go? Like, he's gone. But instead, I'm like, I have my family. I don't care about like really anything of just like I think like I could do things the right way now, which is very good. The thing I think with so many of us people is just being patient is the hard part.
It's very hard.
Yeah, very hard because things have to line up, and yeah, I don't know, but we'll see what happens. I'm enjoying it.
It's awesome.
Thank
It's
you.
it is so cool to
It's my first podcast.
it's
My my podcast cherries.
Oh man. Okay, I have
Hold on. I have to see my son's. Son, are you alive? Okay, good. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Um I was gonna say, what is the weirdest wave that you have ever surfed?
Thinking about it. There's so many weirdest wave. Like
You can
shape,
you you
the
can
way
take
it
it
broke.
in any direction that you think is right.
The weirdest wave I've ever served. Hmm. Dang it. I should have seen that this question was coming based on the name of the podcast. What? Um, the weirdest wave I have ever served. I don't think it's going to be the physical wave. I got to go with the crowd. I got
Okay.
to go with the group of eclectic people in the lineup. I know that's what it's going to be. It's not because I've surfed some weird funky waves, but gosh. I gotta say it's somewhere like Doheny,
Okay.
which is like it's basically Waikiki, but in Dana Point in Southern California. So super slow, and it's like the perfect beginner wave. But it brings out stand-up paddleboarders that don't know what they're doing, stand-up paddleboarders that do know what they're doing, professionals, amateurs, people on boogie boards. I've seen people on foils all the same day, like, and it's polluted. Like there's like like we're all dying as we're surfing it. It's just the most obscene crowd of like beginners, advanced, all mixed together, and it's just a slow wave. It can get good if it's the right swell and the sand's right, but just the amount of weirdos, that's it. It's the human beings. It has nothing to do with the wave. It's just the weirdos that collect there, probably from the sewage. It's just made everybody all jacked up. And you would love it. You should surf. If you're, it's perfect. It's the best place to learn. Yeah. It's like there's like 3-year-old kids literally surfing and like 95-year-old men surfing. And then people on every sort of craft, including like just stuff you should not, why would you have a shortboard at this like super slow longboard place?
But it's there.
Yeah. And it used to be a wave called, believe it or not, oh, I have a shirt on. It used to be called Killer Dana. Before they built a harbor in the 70s, there was maybe it was the late 60s, there was a wave that was really good. But they built a harbor and it ruined it. Now you have Doheny, all the sewage, all the weirdos. Yeah.
Is it true that you have to wait 48 hours after it rains to surf?
You don't have to do anything. But I would recommend it. I know some people that have got jacked, got bad, sick. It's a great idea. All the needles, all the sewage, all the funk, it all just. And what's a bummer is sometimes the waves are so good and you're just like, it looks like the chocolatey Willy Wonka like river, and you're like, oh, I shouldn't do it. Yeah. I'm probably going to lose some years doing that.
Or people, they get sick, like they go to the hospital, they have like an infection or something?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, God.
But some don't. It's weird. It's like, I think it's luck of the draw, people's immune systems. It's best to wait. But again, like if it's perfect, that's the day there'll be 5 people out because it just rained. And there's always dudes. They'll just put the plugs in, put the cap on, try to keep your head above water, spit the water out a lot, constantly going like this. Like you probably wish you had goggles on. You see a turd floating by, you're like, ooh, keep your mouth shut.
What's the best thing about living in California? I feel like we maybe shit on California a little bit. No. What's the best thing?
It's the ultimate love-hate relationship. It's the most insanely diverse state as far as like I could be beautiful coastline, surfing all these different breaks, go into the middle of the desert where it's like crazy desert, Joshua Tree rocks, ride motorcycles, then go up into the snow, into the beautiful mountains. There's beautiful snow. I can go to Lake Tahoe where there's this freakish, bright, bluest water you've ever seen lake. I could go to Mammoth with real beautiful powder snow. I can go up to giant redwoods in Northern California that are just like staggering hundreds of years old, huge. I can go up to like crazy cliffs right on the water. I can go to Yosemite, like one of the gnarliest national parks. The diversity as far as things you can see and do and explore are nuts. Plus, with like a climate that, like, besides wildfires and earthquakes, like, not a lot of storms, not a lot of rain. It's mostly 72 degrees all the time, not humid. It's insane. It's perfect. It's why everybody's here. But with that population, the cost of living, huge influx of people into cities, crime, homelessness. I won't get into politics. It all gets nutso. So I love it. I love it. But if it wasn't for surfing, I wouldn't live here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Yeah.
What is your biggest oh shit moment you've had while surfing? Like your big scare moment? You thought close to death or something along those lines?
Yeah, I know exactly what it is. I went over the falls at a place and went underwater, and my head, this is what it felt like, got stuck between two rocks.
Oh,
as my head is stuck and my body keeps rotating, and I heard my spine go pop, 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 like my top vertebrae go, and I felt my whole body like freeze, and there was like tingling in my body, and I kind of floated to the surface, and it was like not that big, low tide, freaked me out so bad. Went onto the beach and was like sitting there, like almost crying, just like freaking out, and was fine. Was okay. It was like a chiropractic adjustment, but it felt to me like it been just that much to the left or that much to the right, you're paralyzed.
Oh my
So,
God.
Yeah, still freaks me out. That scared the shit out of me.
That's scary.
Yeah. And that does happen to people. So, yeah.
What? What does your quiver look like?
My quiver, I was like the worst Craigslist board hoarder dude ever, and I've just like got it under control. Like my wife literally for like 8 years has thought I had like a bad drug problem because I would hide money. I've hidden boards in the attic. I use a board bag that's like the same board bag and switch boards out and put new boards in. I've gotten same colored boards just because to try to make it look the same. But right now I'm doing pretty good. My boards, the boards I tend
You're
to
a
ride.
board whore. We have a term for that. Board whore.
My smallest board is 5'4", which I ride like 90% of the time. It's like a mini Simmons type board. You'll see it in the first couple episodes of that show or that series. I like fish, like 5'6", and then I like ride a lot of like hybrid, like 5'10", like rounder nose. Yeah, and then I have a crazy 11'6". It's called a PSV, paddle surf vehicle. You should look it up.
That's
It's
cool.
it's like half paddleboard, half surfboard, and then I have a couple like 6'4" boards that are like step ups. Yeah, and then I have a soft top now that I got for free.
Woo!
Like Crime, which is so fun to ride.
That's cool.
And I have a Wave Storm, I hate to say, but it's for when people visit.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We love wave storms on the lake. Are you kidding me? You need it. Need that buoyancy here.
I know. They work.
They do work.
Not the way I want them to work, though. I don't care for the way they feel, but a lot of people like them.
People do love them. I've never ridden one, but I know the catch surfboards. I'm totally a fan of those.
Yeah, people like those too.
Those are very fun. Super fun. What is next for you?
Probably just a really bad coke habit, like divorce. Probably. Maybe if I have money left over, I'll get a van and just cruise.
It doesn't sound promising.
Doesn't. It's all pretty dark. Pretty bleak. No, I will continue to be a father to my children. and a husband to my wife. Try to be a better one. And no, I want to, like, I wrote out goals the other day. I'm like, that's what you're supposed to do, right? Write the goals down. Like, I wrote 2020, and I'm like, oh, you better get moving, son. It's going by quick. And I said, I want to, I literally, like, yesterday I was at work, and there's like 700 channels on the TV. And I'm like, I've always wanted to be on television. There's 700 channels. You should be able to find a place somewhere in there, John, like maybe the Home Shopping Network or on something. Shoot for the stars, son. So yeah, I would like to leave my day job and get paid to do what I love. That's what's next for me.
That's awesome.
And to like develop whatever skill set I have to the best of my abilities and see where that takes me. Because I don't want my kids to grow up and me to tell them to follow their dreams when I didn't follow mine.
I mean,
yeah. Well, it's true.
It is true.
That would be stupid. Like, be like, and I figure better late than never. And really, it's not that late. Here's the quote for me that I hold on to. 40 is the old age of the young, and 50 is the young age of the old. So that makes me feel good because I'm like, I am young. I'm just in the old part of young. And 50 is the young part of old. So I'm like, I have this middle part. Things usually take about 10 years to like, so I'm like, all right, let's go. Whatever. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Do it.
Well, this has been awesome.
That was fun. Thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, thank you for being on the show and for talking for 2 hours. This was
sorry,
awesome.
I looked like a homeless man.
No, that's good.
Okay, I'm disheveled.
That's all good. No, it's good. I'm just gonna how can people reach out to you if they want to contact you?
They can contact me whenever. I reply to everything because I always like when people reply to me. You can go to @Jonathan Wayne Freeman. That's my Instagram. I do have a YouTube channel that has a horrible, maybe I took it down. I had one thing on there. It was a wave storm review. But maybe someday that'll be something. I have a Twitter, which is John Wayne Freeman. Originally everything was John, Jon, but that one got toasted when my phone erased. So now it's Jonathan, JONATHAN, WAYNEFREEMAN. And why I use my own name, I don't know. People are like, dude, why would you use I'm like, put your name on it. Oh, why not? So yeah, you can do that. And then look for the Surfer Films on all of their platforms. Yes.
Oh.
You froze.
I lost you.
I lost you. You're frozen. I can hear you, though. All right, young lady. That was cool. Okay. Are you there, Taylor?
Oh yeah. Okay, there we go.
All right, wait.
You were like a robot for a little bit.
I don't know how. I wanted to tell you something, but I can't have it.
Oh yeah. Okay. So we'll do an ending.
If you screw me on this,
so
if you screw me on
say
this,
like,
I'm gonna fly to Michigan. I'm gonna find you out in the lakes, and I'm gonna paddle out, and I'm gonna be like, "You said you weren't gonna show this." Okay.
I won't show it. Okay, let me push stop recording right now. Hold on. And that was episode 24. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. You can find Jonathan on Instagram @Jonathan Wayne Freeman. And this upcoming Wednesday, January 8th, his video series launches with Surfer Mag. Check it out. I'm so stoked to check it out. It's going to be really hilarious. It's just it seems like it's going to be something really unique and different, and you can tell when he talks about it how excited he is. So definitely check that out. And if you want to view this on YouTube, you can go ahead and like and subscribe. It's Weird Waves Podcast on youtube.com. You can find us on Anchor, Stitcher, and Spotify. Go ahead and give us a rating. That really helps us. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, send us an email at weirdwavespodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you next Monday with another episode.